Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Monique and this is Art with Mo. Today we are going to be working on coloring portraits of Tom Holland. If you can't already tell by the title and of course the thumbnail, I sketched out these portraits a while ago and I'll make sure that I link it up above so that you can check out these sketches. But I figured it was about time to go ahead and color them in. So that's what we're going to do today. I am using my Ohuhu markers to color in all of these portraits. This marker that I'm using right now actually almost did not make it because as soon as I finished the base of Tom Holland's face on this specific portrait, it was running out of juice. And I was really worried about whether or not it was going to work for the next portrait. And I hadn't looked at the third one yet, so I wasn't sure that I would have the right color. And I was already planning ahead of grabbing different markers so that I could finish up this page. But luckily, that marker helped. It worked as long as it needed to, which was perfect. So we didn't have to worry about figuring out any other colors because this portrait and the second portrait is the only time that I used that marker. And so, yeah, everything just worked out really well. Right now, I am working on his hair. I'm not the best at doing hair, so I'm literally just going by the colors that I see in the reference and I'm trying to match them as best as possible. I really like how this portrait is turning out. I think by just figuring out which shapes I wanted to use really helped the process instead of looking at the portrait as a whole. I did look at the portrait as a whole. I just mean as in the shapes and the shadows, marking those out just helped the process go by a little bit easier and it took out a lot of the guesswork. Now that I'm done with the markers, I am going to go in with some colored pencil just so that I can kind of get those fine details for his lips and his eyes, around his chin, just certain colors that I didn't want to use markers for. And also, I wanted to use my colored pencils, so I busted them out so that I can go in with a little bit more detail in Tom Holland's face. And I feel like this portrait turned out really well for it being the first one on the page. It's not my favorite, but I do like how it turned out. I just think that the reference photo didn't have as much shadow as I would have wanted. Could I have added shadow in to this portrait? Absolutely, but I wanted to try to keep it as true to the reference as possible, and I did try to add in a little bit more shadows into this one, but I think it turned out really well and it does have a little bit of dimension in it. So let's go ahead and move on to this second portrait. I do really enjoy side profiles, so this one I was excited to do. I think it turned out really well as well. So I'm going to start off with his hair this time. No reason why, really. I just felt like starting with his hair, and that might be because my hand, where it was resting on the page, it would have smudged his face if I would have done his face first. But also, I wanted to do his hair because I had, I don't want to say the energy to do it, but I had the momentum. That's the right word. I had the momentum to do his hair, so I did it, especially because hair's not my strong suit. And if I was feeling to do his hair, then I'm gonna do his hair. And here's where that marker started to run out of juice. So I was going back and forth and using odd chisel tip and then also the brush tip of the marker, kind of going back and forth to try to get the marker to get more juice. But I was able to get the base of his face done with the marker, and now I'm just going in and adding in more shadows to his face with a different marker. And like I said before, I'm just kind of going by the shapes that I see. And then I like using the brush tip just because I'm able to feather out the ends, so then it's not so hard. It doesn't have such a sharp edge, is a better word. And I really like how I was able to get the shadows on his face for his glasses. I was a little worried about not being able to portray that correctly, but I think I was able to get the shadows in the right spot. And then I just went in and added in some colored pencil with this portrait as well. I like pairing colored pencil and marker together. I think they work really, really well. And so I just continue to do it because pencils just help add a little extra oomph, and then they get those fine details that you can't really get with the marker because markers tend to spread. And yeah, so I just like using the color pencils and markers together because they are such a great pair. I'm going to go ahead and color in his shirt, and there's not really much to it. I feel like I didn't use a lot of colors. I only used two with his t-shirt, or I guess he's actually wearing a suit, but I only used two because his entire suit was maroon. My biggest challenge with his shirt was probably trying to find a dark enough marker, but one that wasn't too dark to where it would add too much contrast because his outfit didn't have a lot of contrast to it to begin with. So we are going to go ahead and move on to the third portrait, which I am going to go ahead and start with his face this time. Now I am using a darker base. That's only because the reference photo was of him in shadow, so I needed to use a darker tone for him. And I actually enjoyed this portrait the most just because it had more dynamic shadows, but also the challenge was being able to still show light in a shaded area. So I enjoyed figuring out where to put my shapes and where to leave a little bit of light so that you could still see the form in his face. But also, I think because his this specific portrait was a little bit darker, it just added a little bit more oomph to the page. Not everything was so same. Even though it is the same person, there was just a little bit more, I don't know. It just made the page more interesting. So I appreciated this portrait. I'm glad that I picked this one. And I'm glad that he's not wearing the same colored shirt in any of these references. Like he's wearing blue in the first one, red in the second one, and then green in this third one. And then also, just because I picked different angles of his face, you can kind of see different sides to him as I colored in each portrait, which was a lot of fun. And that's all I have to say today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you would like to see in the future. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. I'm locked in, guess I'm locked in. Looking for a piece of mind, I've been trying to redefine life. I can see the signs, word is going to see me shine. Fighting for my soul's sake, whipping fast, no brakes. Nothing's ever been a waste, now that I've been wide awake. Luke's trying to pull me back in. I was stuck for a minute and forgot the passion. Since the lights turned on, it's been camera action. And you start to see it all like a chain reaction. Watch it happen, yeah. Swear that I'ma find my way. Past been gone, I'ma watch it all fade. Whoa, guess I'm going MIA from everybody's problems. Oh, guess I'm locked in, guess I'm locked in. I got this, and it's on my soul. Guess I'm locked in, I'm locked
Voices living in my head. I see the riches of the world, I'm not impressed. Know that I'm far from perfect, but trying my best. Looking up to the sky, feeling grateful. Boy, I had to walk away from the fake road. Can't believe I'm still here on my way to